Thanks everyone for coming back. It's been a big day today. We just come back from a fair drive from up north end of the coast, picking up the first part of the build basically. As many know, the thing that'll make or break a car can be the wheels and rim choice. So what we've gone is for a pretty aggressive tyre, we'll show you soon, but yeah, the rim, we've gone for a pretty chunky sort of rim. We want a fair bit of poke on these things. So we're about to pull into our driveway and we'll all meet Jasper soon. He's the head engineer and he's going to be helping us out to fit these up. So what we got, we're going for 35 muds, pretty aggressive sort of tread on these things. They are true beadlocks, so we've got 16 by 10 neg 44s. We're having for a fair bit of poke on these things, but yeah, 35 by 12.5 by 16s. Just gone for a smaller rim because I always like to have a smaller rim, mainly for your forward driving. It gives it more tyre, more belly of tyre to play with before we actually go buckle rim. So I do love me alloys rather than steelies. Alloys are stronger, they are often lighter. These things are heavy, but you get that with beadlocks and they're going to be nice and strong. So let's hope they fit. Jasper, how we go, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Got this upper arm swapped in. The factory one is cooked.
Oh no.
I don't know if they've jumped it or something, but the guard line is all scraped up and you can see she's pretty bent.
Beautiful. Well everyone, this is Jasper. He's a head engineer and what do we call it?
Yeah, assistant manager to the product development team.
Yeah, he helps out with everything here, so he does much of our drawings. Also helps out with fitting and install test fitting. So I'm sure other people have seen this sort of thing happening. So that's the arm from this side, frontal impact, buckled up, and Jasper, you said there's a couple of impact marks
Yeah,
here.
you can see all the plastics gouged out nicely.
Right. So you can see there's a bit of damage on the back here and all this plastic's all scrubbed up pretty hard. So it's had a fairly decent whack. We can actually see the rim back there is actually buckled up as well. So with that control arm being bent up, there, we can see the wheels being pushed back and that's what's created all the damage back here. Most of that's probably going to be chopped out by the look of it anyway. We'll see how we go. But I'll lead you over to Jasper here. He'll explain a lot more about this arm and what we've done with it. Jasper.
So we've obviously stiffened it up, being that it's billet aluminium. We've gone for a 60-61, so it's a nice structural alloy. I believe the measurements worked out to be, I think it was around 80% stronger than the steel. Obviously alloy, it's a lot stiffer than the steel. We noticed with the destructive testing, the steel started buckling up around 23 kilonewtons. The aluminium made it to 42 before it failed, and that was around the bush area. So you're going to need to put twice as much force to do any damage, real damage to the aluminium. So strength-wise, we've definitely exceeded factory, but not to the point that we're worried about wrecking your tower or your chassis. In terms of caster, we've given it just under 2.5 degrees extra caster. So for your bigger lifts and that, you've got your caster back for your wheel alignment, but we haven't gone too aggressive that we've moved the hub too far back and you've got to now cut everything out. So we found just under 2.5 degrees was where we're happy with it. The other thing we noticed is on the bigger lifts, you're getting too much positive camber. So we've shortened up the arm just a tad, just to help with your 2 to 4 inch lifts with getting that wheel alignment spot on. So with these arms, should have no problems getting a nice big lift out of this thing. Still keeping it usable though, we do want some down travel.
The other thing we found in amongst that was the CV bind, wasn't it? When you go in too much lift, or it's more so too long a strut and the caster being incorrect. So Jasper, you want to explain a little bit about what we did with the arm to try and minimise that and the things to look out for when you are getting the wheel alignment done, the lift fitted, all those sort of things, or even post-fitment if you've already got a lift fitted, things to look out for.
Yeah, so obviously when you're getting a wheel alignment, it's all done via the lower control arms here. They're adjustable. You wind them in and out with the cam bolts. Now, by changing the caster in the upper control arms and shortening a little bit, we've given you a lot more adjustability on the lower arm. So now the wheel aligner does not have to sacrifice that adjustability to get your wheel alignment good, which then gives you CV bind. So by pushing that lower control arm in too far, for instance, trying to fix your camber, you actually end up with CV bind because the CV gets jammed into the cup. So by giving you an arm which already does get you pretty close with your wheel alignment, the wheel aligner can then devote a lot more time to making sure that your CV is now spinning freely once you've done the adjustment. So the problem is you can't just check at ride height. You need to check at full droop. That's usually when it gets the worst. As your hub's coming down, everything starts to get jammed up and bind up. So it's one of the things that either the customer or the wheel aligner needs to check, because if you stuff that up, you get CV bind, you're gonna break things.
We're pretty sure that's got a lot to do with the diffs that are exploding in these, because we noticed when you jack it up by the belly and let the tyres droop down or the suspension fully extend, the CV going in, we actually notice the diff is getting yeeted up basically pretty hard. So with that, that's tremendous force being pushed in onto those, directly onto the pinions, like inside the diff, and you know, we can only imagine what damage that's doing, but it is definitely binding things up, and the diffs are blowing up from the inside out, which is normally a failure internally, not external, but this is actually external force going through, and yeah, it's just something I really got to look out for these days. So you just want to jack the car up by the belly and spin the hub by hand. See if it spins free. Sweet. We can't do it at the moment because we've got the jack up on the control arm, but we can show that in another video later on. Let's see if these wheels fit up, eh?
Let's do it.
All right, so first thing first, the stud pattern correct, so that's a good start for us. Look, I'm using Akadakis, we're just doing test fit, okay? So we don't advise this for any wheels or anything. Always double check with a torque wrench if we can. This is just a test fit, so it's the only time I'm gonna use a rattle gun for this. All right, Jasper, what do you reckon, mate?
Looks mint.
We did all right?
It's a bit of poke, but
Yeah, there's a bit, definitely more on the back, isn't there? What do you reckon, about 100 mil poke?
yeah. Oh,
Yeah. Well, obviously not street legal, but we weren't going for legality on this thing. So we are looking at getting flares, which stick out about 50 mil, and it looks about 100 mil to me. So I'd say we've got about 40 mil of poke from there. We do want to keep poke because I like to have the poke for four-wheel drive mainly because as you're going down and falling into a rut, you're rubbing the side wall of the tyres. That's also why you've got the side binders.
The knobblies.
You know, protect the side wall a bit. But you fall in, your tyre's going to hit, not your body panels. You know, you can do rock sliders and all that sort of stuff as well, but that's still only going to protect here, where they're going to give you that more of a buffer before that hits, because then you're scratching your paint, right?
Yeah.
So paint, powder coat, wrap, whatever you've got. So I think next test, the first test is...
Does it turn?
First test is done, they fit, but do they fit when we turn?
Yeah.
So let's check it out.
Turn right, mate.
Go right.
Just grabs the plastic, come back the other way.
Keep going.
Nah.
What?
That's it.
No, you're good.
That's all you got.
Over a half a turn over to the left.
Yeah, you're gonna start munching your guard.
And no way to make it, eh? Ah. Oh well. Oh, there's a couple of options we've got.
First one is,
Well, people talk about suspension lift, right?
yeah,
This has already got a suspension lift. If you go up any higher, you're still going to compress down, aren't you? So it's not going to make a difference there.
correct.
And we've only tested that. We haven't actually seen how it tucks up, if we're going to tuck inside this guard at all.
Yeah.
So I'd be looking at body mount chop first. Some people talk about caster, moving, you know, adjusting the caster to move the wheel forward, which I think you addressed that earlier. The problem with that is we've got the diff drop relocation because we found the diffs are located behind the hub center already. So if you go and move those wheels further forward again, you're making that CV angle worse. So you're sort of going against the grain of things.
Yeah.
We do look at the body mount chop first.
Yeah.
You know, it minimises any of that caster adjustment. It allows us to get that clearance. So we've obviously got clearance at the front because the bull bar. You know, plastic panels, they do hit a bit more.
The other problem with caster is you can only move it so far forward, and in doing so, you're then limiting how much your wheel aligner can give for wheel alignment. So you send that tyre forward, and you've now lost the ability to fix your camber. Your toes obviously gonna have to be pulled out quite a bit. So it's just a band-aid for a fix. Band-aid fix, it's not the best way to do it.
Well, it can also affect bump steer, can't it? Because
That's right.
you're tilting the hubs back and forth,
Correct.
and that's changing the geometry from the steering rack to your control arms.
Yeah, so giving yourself more of that positive caster, like exactly like you said, you rock that hub forward, which drops the pickup point on the hub for the tie rod, and yeah, it gives you even worse bump steer.
All right, so body mount chop it is.
Sounds like
I
it.
think we're going to have to lose that mud flat. What do you reckon?
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's pretty much it.
No dramas.
We can get started on the other side with that control arm, and I'll leave you in Jasper's hands.
Sounds good. All right, so now we've got this arm on this side, wheels back on, car's back on the ground. I haven't tightened up the actual up control arm bush bolts at the back here. So these bushes, they're meant to be done up when the weight is on the car. So we've dropped the car back on the ground now. I've got the nuts just finger tight for now. We'll go back in with the spanners now, tighten it all up, and that'll be the install done.
All right, now we've got everything done. Wheels anyway, wheels are on. I wouldn't say we're steering too well at the moment, but Jasper was able to fix up those arms at the same time. So it's going to give us that extra bit of chance of actually rolling this thing out and see how it goes. But look, everyone, thank you very much. If you're following, smash the like button if you can. Subscribe, follow, there's a lot more coming. This is the very start of a very big build.